Well, welcome to the show, Jeff Guenther. How you doing?
I'm doing really great. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I am doing busy, and life is crazy, and all that fun stuff. Life with a 2.5-year-old is pretty fun and challenging when you own your own
Yeah.
business and your wife owns her own therapy practice too. So yeah,
Yeah, I can't imagine. There's no like 2.5-year-old running around behind you, is there? Uh,
he's actually in his crib napping right behind the wall in front of where I'm speaking. So I need to make sure not to yell too loudly.
okay. We'll try to not go too crazy on this
Yeah,
podcast.
we'll see.
Although, yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about some pretty exciting things, so no
Exactly.
promises. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for people who don't know who you are and what you do, why don't you just give us a little bit of a background
Mhm.
about where you're at and how you help therapists today?
Sure. I am Jeff Guenther. I have a private practice. I've been a therapist for almost about 15 years now.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, and I've been practicing up in Portland, Oregon for a while. I'm from California though. And I have like a handful of alternative streams of income. Sometimes I call them passive, but I don't know if like you can truly call like another stream of income
Yeah.
passive.
Yeah. We'll
Although
talk about
that's
that.
yeah, that's the goal. But I've done a few things. I've taught SEO courses and workshops for local therapists here in Portland and how to like attract more clients by moving up in Google searches. I've for a long time had I have another stream of income where I'm renting out part-time office space to therapists, which we'll get into a little bit. I've developed an online course. I have started an online therapy, mental health directory here in Portland. I've also launched a national therapist directory. I also launched another directory for like healthcare, alternative healthcare providers like acupuncturists, naturopaths. That failed. Maybe we can talk about why that
Wow. Okay.
failed. Yeah. So those are a handful of things that I've done. Right now, I'm like focusing most of my energy on Therapy Done, which is the National Therapist Directory that I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like every time I look you up or see the latest thing in, on Facebook or something, you're always doing something new. It's like I'm super
Yeah.
impressed and inspired by you, and so I'm excited to go through these 24 ideas for passive income because you definitely are an authority on it, and you've got that. It seems like you definitely have that creative mind to think about, hey, how else could I make money these days?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about it. And therapy and the mental health industry, I feel like there's like not as much innovation as there is in like other fields.
Mm,
So I feel like there's still like it's really like there's a lot of gaps in the market that us therapists can fill. And sometimes I see like non-therapists kind of like come into the mental health market, and it seems like they only survive if they're like married to a therapist or if they
ding,
like
that's
know,
me.
yeah, or if they like know the field
Yeah,
intimately.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so I see a lot of folks that are trying to create, or trying to kind of like do something, and they it doesn't quite work because they don't have like the intimate knowledge that we do as being a therapist. So that's why I like to really encourage therapists to do it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's certainly a market for it, and just to that point about like the creativity and stuff, for therapists. I think as you're speaking, I'm thinking about when I first started creating my therapist website. It's like 3 years ago. I don't really recall many people asking about how do I create an online course or how do affiliate links work, and stuff like that. But I think a lot more people are getting into it, which is awesome, and it's fun to see because people are solving a lot of problems and challenges for their clients, and also making an income on it. So it's everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Well, let's get into this. You wrote this cheat sheet that's 24 passive income ideas for therapists, and so we're just gonna go bam bam down the list here and just talk about each of these and hopefully inspire some people to maybe branch out with what they're doing to add some income into their business. And I know that I mean, I glanced over it, so I'm excited to dig in a little deeper on some of these because I'm getting ideas for my wife and for her website and things that we can
Hmm.
do. So I'll let you kind of take it away and lead, and then we'll just kind of just go back and forth
Sure.
on this and
Yeah.
yeah, dig a little deeper into each one.
Yeah, just as a disclaimer, some of these ideas are like incredibly lofty and are not passive at all. And then some of them are a lot more manageable. But maybe like the lofty ideas will really resonate with you and you can become like a leader in the field.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that maybe like, at least a handful, five or six that like will possibly like resonate with folks and they can feel inspired to like do something else.
Yeah. Well, to that
Yeah.
point, I guess before we dive in, let's talk a little bit more about the definition of passive because I see
Yeah,
it's in quotes,
I did put in
on this cheat
quotes.
sheet, which by the way, if you're listening, you'll be able to download the cheat sheet at the uh the show notes at the link on privatepracticeelevation.com. So, what does passive mean to you in this context?
Yeah, my definition of passive has like changed over the years. Um, one of the first things I did was started renting out office space to folks, and that is, I guess, my most passive, and but only because I like have to like I only devote like 3 to 5 hours a week
Hmm.
to running all of that. There's a lot of hours that kind of go into like launching it and opening up different office spaces.
Yeah.
But I sort of see like a passive income as something that you can devote maybe just like 5 hours or less to. Um, that's just my own personal definition. And it turns out that like it's very difficult to do that. So I like to kind of like look at these more as like alternative streams of income because I've
Yeah.
had to, with my private practice, I used to see like 25 to 30 clients a week. There's no way I could see that many clients now and have all these like alternative streams of income.
Right.
So now I only see like 6 to 8 clients a week. So I had to kind of like come to terms with the fact that my private practice needs to shrink if I want to add these other streams of income. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think too that there's like looking at this list, there's different levels of passivity, like you said,
Right.
like renting space might be pretty passive once you get it set up, you're collecting a check,
Hmm.
and just kind of managing some people there. But, other things like an e-course, that's going to take a lot of work to, upfront to create the content and all that stuff. So
It will.
there could be in the future more passive, but starting out,
Hmm.
not so passive.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can kind of think about that as we're going
Yeah.
through each idea.
Sounds good. Okay, so
Mhm.
kick us off. What's the first one? First idea?
So the first one I really like a lot, and I might like the best, even though I've never personally done it. I've seen a lot of therapists do it. Create an ebook, and I really like this one because a lot of therapists have like a specialty or a niche, whether it's a population or a treatment or a specific like mental health issue that we treat in session.
Yeah.
And we have so many like just sort of like scripts, not in a bad way, but like scripts that we like internally read while we're like talking to our clients. And if you can take all those scripts that are like super helpful, really healing, and like actually put it in a little ebook, like just, a ebook that might just be like 10 pages, PDF pages, put it in there, make a little like workbook or something and sell that. I feel like that comes like really natural to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can sell it for like $5 or $30 or give it away for free or something like that. It's just sort of like a real natural extension of what we're saying in session and just documenting it on a PDF.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too another way that you could even simplify this process too is if you're what comes to mind to me is if you're blogging regularly and
Mm,
if you have like a really great series of blog posts that
mm.
have a similar topic and thread throughout, like you could just take that and package it together, give it a good title, and create a PDF out of that. And the work's already done, you just really need to package it together.
Yeah, exactly. I know that you've talked about passive income in other podcast episodes, and today I don't think we're going to get into like how to market these things.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, you can
Just to
listen
get
to
the
like,
juices going.
yeah, we're just getting the juices going.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Yep.
So the second one on the list is to create a blog and get affiliate links. So like you were saying, and like I'm saying, if you have like specific specialties or things that you feel passionate about and you're creating a blog, which everyone should do, every therapist should do on their website, just for like lots of reasons.
That's another podcast episode
Yeah.
there.
But go ahead and create a blog and try to like do it regularly, maybe even like blog once a week if you can. And with that, you can start to create a following maybe from other therapists or from like clients, just like non-therapists that are really interested in the issue that you're talking about. So if you
Hmm.
create a blog based on like how to, not feel anxious in a relationship, then a lot of people might start following that blog. And if you do that, then you can start like selling, affiliate links. So affiliate links are kind of like products that would make sense to like sell. So if you're selling like if you're like blogging about how to not feel anxious in your relationship, then there might be an affiliate link pointing to a book on codependency. And then every time somebody clicks on that link and buys that book, you get a little percentage of that book.
Great. Awesome. I don't think we need to go too deep into that one. So let's
Okay.
just keep going.
Let's keep going. Creating corporate retreats or workshops. So there's a lot of like, corporations or businesses in your area. A lot of times they have to go, for a little retreat and maybe do some trust falls or climbing some ropes or
Yep.
get to like some group therapy activities or something.
Yeah.
You as a therapist are trained in like mental health and counseling. You can lead those workshops and they could pay you a lot of money sometimes like $5,000 per retreat. And if you get in good with your like local businesses, then it can become like a cash cow for you.
Absolutely. Very cool. Okay. Number 4.
Number 4, join Talkspace or BetterHelp. So those are like two online services, online therapy services.
Hmm.
Talkspace is kind of more appy, and BetterHelp also has an has an app, but they're more like online website. So if you join them, then you can like they'll find clients for you, and you'll do therapy online, which means that you'll do like video counseling, you'll do sort of like online chatting, or like emails back and forth. And this can be really good, especially if you're like starting a private practice and you just want to like have extra income in order to like build your practice.
Yeah.
You don't get paid too much.
That was my next question. Like, what does the pay look like for the work that you're going to be doing on Talkspace?
Yeah, somewhere between like $15 and $25. So compare that to like maybe like $100 session. That's a
Hmm.
lot less than something like 20 or 25% of what you typically make.
Yeah.
Um, but these clients, you don't have to do like any marketing. They all just come to you and you can just like find them in the app and it's like really easy to operate. We could probably like spend a whole podcast on exactly what it's like to work for like Talkspace or BetterHelp. We don't have time to do that,
Yeah.
but it's just sort of like something extra that you can do that a lot of therapists are doing these days.
Yeah, I could see that being pretty helpful, especially if you're starting out. You want to get your feet wet, get into the game a little bit.
Yeah, I will say that it's quite a application process, especially
Mm.
for I think it is Talkspace, where like you go through like a 4 or 5 month like sort of like vetting process. BetterHelp, you
Yeah.
can like more quickly sign up for them, and they'll start getting you clients really soon.
Okay. Yeah, I like that approach with Talkspace because I think, as you should, they should
Yeah.
vet them pretty well. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
I have so many
Uh,
questions about Talkspace. Like, let's just
I
move on.
know. Okay, let's do that. Um, so you can also, number 5 is sell an online course. I've done this where I created an online course where I like created this SEO and marketing course for therapists. And like you mentioned a little bit before, it takes a lot of work up front, hours and hours and hours,
Yeah.
sometimes like hundreds of hours to create this course. And then so I'm trying to think of like, if a therapist wants to do it, they can like create a course on how to communicate better in your relationship
Hmm.
or how to get over a breakup or something like really specific, really nichey.
Yeah.
Where you can just sort of like guide that client through an online course and they can like see you on video and they can like do your workbooks. And then hopefully, like once you launch the course, less work will be involved, sort of like, update it here and there or do some
Yeah.
like customer service, but like getting people to just kind of like sign on and go through the process.
Yeah. I think one thing that comes to mind for me with the online course stuff is that I know for myself, with the courses I've created in my business, it can be very overwhelming at first when you're thinking about starting it. But I would say I would just encourage people to start small. Like I mentioned with the first one with the ebook, you might have a series of blog posts, that have some really good teaching that you could turn that into maybe 3 or 4 videos. And these don't need to be like heavily produced videos. You could use your iPhone to create these videos, but maybe you have like a really good workbook that goes along, like, just so long as you're able to produce a result, for your client and the person who purchases. So just little tidbits that come to mind.
Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be the most highly produced thing ever. And sometimes when it's not, it feels more authentic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of like how just like things are, like YouTube videos are just like really sort of scrappy, and
Yeah.
we're all fine with it and we're okay
Yeah.
with it.
Right. Yeah. You're just trying to get the information across.
Exactly. So the next one is an incredibly lofty one. Um, create an app. So you might not be able to do this yourself, but there's a lot of like app developers out there. But if you think that you have like some sort of unique idea, then I'd like encourage you to talk to an app developer, because there's more and more apps that are like getting created every day, but there's still like not like a ton. It's not like so fully saturated in the mental health market that like another app that's really good couldn't be successful. So there you go. Start an app.
Yeah. That's one of my dreams, actually.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know what it would be, but I just like, that thing where you're going about your life and you're like, man, there should be an app for that. I got to
Right.
start writing those ideas down.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The next idea, create a YouTube channel. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to like actually sit down on the computer and write and type out all your words, and you're just better like talking, because a lot of us are, since we're therapists, we're just talking all day.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start recording yourself and create a YouTube channel. Really small, digestible videos, maybe just like 3 minutes or 5 minutes or something. So just like a whole bunch of videos on how you can like help your ideal client. And then if your YouTube channel gets some traction, like kind of major traction, then you can start to like had like advertisers on there.
Yeah.
Or even if you don't like have major traction, you can start like selling your own products to the audience that you already have. And it's just like good content and SEO to have there that will like link to your website as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You could even take it a step further, transcribe each of your videos, and then you have the text, and you can put that on your website for some SEO juice along with the video. Gain a lot of traction that way.
Exactly. Next idea, create an Instagram account. There's a lot of therapists that do create Instagram accounts, and they sort of have those like little quotes
Yeah.
that they come up with, which a ton of people like on Instagram. Or you can just try to like, be a little artist and illustrate certain like little comics or something. That's kind of fun to do. But starting an Instagram account, can like really create a niche following, and then you can start like selling products to them. And it could just be like, if you're like illustrating or drawing, it can be a little like flip book that you've like created of all your Instagram posts. If you get like if you get like a lot of followers, then you can start doing like sponsored posts where you can start like selling or sponsoring other products that are kind of like would resonate with your audience.
Yeah. Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Next one, start a podcast.
Woohoo.
So like you and me, start a podcast. There's a ton of podcasts out there, but it's still like there's still a lot of room. So if you feel like you're good at talking into a microphone, or you have like really interesting people to interview, then go ahead and start a podcast. Once you start to get like a regular following, there might be like folks that would be willing to have commercials or sponsors on your podcast, and that's how you can make money.
Yep, absolutely. It's also a great way to just build relationships with people that could then in the future could come back with maybe some affiliate opportunities and stuff like that as
Right.
well.
Yeah, you start to become like a leader in your community, and a lot of people kind of like start coming to you with ideas. So eventually you don't have to come up with all the podcast ideas, because they're like, oh, I listened to your podcast. I'd love to be on it. Here's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
And then so that's what started happening for me and my podcast. And it's made things a little easier recently.
Yeah, that's great. I hope to get there. I'm coming up with all the topics and stuff, but yeah, it's been awesome.
Good. Next idea, you know a lot about this. Make websites for therapists.
Yep.
Therapists are not super tech savvy a lot of the time. And I would say if you're going to do this, start really small. Start like in your local community. You're already
Mm,
connected with therapists and maybe like therapists that are new and getting out of grad school. Just be like, hey, I'll make your website maybe on WordPress or Squarespace or whatever it is, and I'll charge you a fee for it.
yeah.
A lot of therapists don't like to do this kind of work and are happy to pay someone else to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a number of people in Facebook groups that are therapists, but they enjoy doing the website stuff, and so they do
Hmm.
just that, and it's cool because they have a really inside view into what goes into a website or the one that they created for themselves. They can just replicate the content and the design and just knock one
Hmm.
out for someone else who needs it.
Yeah, exactly. Next idea, become a private practice consultant. So this means like if you've been in private practice for 10, 15, 20, 30 years and you know how to run a practice, there's a lot of like little baby therapists that are just starting out and they have no idea and they're super overwhelmed. And so if you want to like
Yeah,
kind of hold their hand through the first 6 months or first year and just sort of like help them launch a practice, like figure out like where to find an office space, what paperwork they need, how to like register with the state, how to start doing some like basic marketing. Like this is all just like really natural for me after being in practice for 15 years. I
yeah,
could probably like take all of this and sell it to a new therapist that is scared and fearful and needs the help.
yeah. You could probably write an ebook about it, create an online
Yes.
course. You could do a
Yes.
workshop. You could pretty much do
Uh-huh.
all of these things just like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Next idea, be a design consultant for therapists. So therapists, unfortunately, or I don't, maybe fortunately for you, they're not able to like design their office very well. We're not interior designers. That's not
Mm,
what we went to go to school for. But if you're pretty good at putting an office together, then you can like sell that service, your design skills, to a
yeah,
therapist because we all know that it's super important to make sure that your client feels safe and secure and comfortable. And if you can't do that yourself, or if a therapist can't do that themselves and you can do it for them, then go ahead and sell that service to them.
absolutely. So my wife she just got her own office space. Like
Hmm.
she's the one on the lease. Like it's her deal. So we just
Nice.
went through this whole process at the beginning of June. And so we have a good friend who is really gifted in interior design. So we leaned on her heavily. But like
Hmm.
I'm just nodding my head in agreement. Like it's such a good service. To be able to provide that to somebody for their office
Hmm.
space, because there's a lot of decisions to be made, and we love how our office came out, and so like she just gets so many good compliments from her clients, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. The next idea is one of my favorites. It's create a training and sell it as continuing education. I just helped my friend here in Portland create a training for therapists that want to learn more about being like poly and open relationship competent. She created a 4 hour training. She got registered with NBCC, the National Board of Counselors, somethings, certified counselors.
There you go.
When she filled out that application, it was kind of pricey. I think it's like $700 to like apply and get certified so that you can like
Mm,
provide these continuing education units. But she paid that money, got like 25 people to sign up for her 4 hour training. They all paid like $100 each, and like, bam, she made $2,500 on
that's
that day.
awesome.
Now, it took a little while, to like create the training, but this
Yeah,
is something she's naturally skilled at.
yeah,
And now she can make it, she can provide she can make like an online course with it, and now everyone outside of Portland
yeah,
could like pay for this training, and she'll get like $100 from everybody. So it's if you can like get certified to provide these trainings, like us therapists need to pay for them, so we might as well pay you, right?
right, absolutely, that's awesome, very cool.
As therapists, a lot of times we read a lot of books, so you can create a website where you review all those books. And I would love it if you, as a therapist, reviewed all your favorite therapy books so I can see which ones you liked or didn't like. And then if I read that review and you can like have an affiliate link, a link pointing to Amazon where I can go buy the book and you'll get some money doing that.
Absolutely. This is something we've been wanting to do on my wife's website for a long time because she's always recommending to her clients, books. Just so you could have a really
Yes.
nice library on your website. It's almost like an extension of the FAQs. If there's books that you're
Right.
recommending on a regular basis, you might as well get some affiliate, income from that. Just put it on your website. You tell your
Mhm.
clients like, okay, there's 3 books I really encourage you to read. Go check these out. You'll find them on my website.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you put the little disclaimer there. These are affiliate links.
Yes.
Little nuances there.
Yes, it's a really good idea. Number 15 is huge and massive and not passive in any way, but it's create a group practice. So if you're a therapist, private practice therapist, and you've been like filling up and you get like a ton of client referrals all the time, why not like hire on an employee and allow them to see those clients that you're like that are um, emailing you all the time. And then through that, you can like hire even more employees and start a group practice. Again, this is just like a ton of work and I would never do it. But I know of friends who have done it and they're super successful.
Yeah.
And they're like and now they just sort of like manage the group practice and they don't like see many clients at all.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
an
And I've
option.
spoken to many people too that once you set up the first one and you get that really working and all your processes in place, then you could open up another location and just keep expanding as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The next one is sort of vague, but it's create an online community. So I know these therapists here in Portland who have created like an online community around the craft addiction model. So there's like a specific treatment orientation that treats addiction,
Mm,
and it's getting more popular. And they just like started a website like, hey, this is how craft works, and here's a message board if anyone wants to talk to each other. And then there's just like a bunch of therapists who are like, oh, I want to know more about it. And they're like, okay, here's a blog and here's videos and there's like keep on like
yeah.
adding more to this online community. So if you're passionate and you think that other therapists would be really interested in like your niche or treatment orientation or a specialty that you treat, um, go ahead and create a website. You can like create a Facebook group. You can like create these like ways for everyone, or just create like a Slack channel. Slack is kind of like a way for folks to communicate with each other. Just like get people talking, and you can be the moderator. And then through that, you can then sell like premium content. Like, oh, you're interested in this craft model? Here's an online course. Here's my ebook. Here's a video series on it, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of like a way to like be a leader in the community.
Very cool. Okay. What's the
Mhm.
next one?
Um, Create a mental health focused jobs board. So there's a lot of different types of jobs that therapists can get. And if you were a therapist in your community that wanted to like take all of those ideas and put them on like an online community, an online website, websites are online, so it would be an online website. Then you can, and it starts to become popular, and that's how like mental health workers are finding jobs in your area. Then you can start charging, the agencies or the group practices that want to list on your website. Charge
Hmm.
them $5 a month, whatever it is. It'll create a little bit of income.
Very cool.
Next one, number 18, start a mental health organization. Ooh.
That sounds big.
It's a little big. But like, so in Portland, one of like the like mental health groups that have recently in the last year or two that like recently formed is called like Mental Health Providers Unite. And these are therapists that are really social justice minded and they're the ones that are marching. They're the ones that are going to City Hall. They're the
Hmm.
ones that are like moving our industry forward and being more inclusive. And it was just like 6 people that decided to like start this organization, and everyone in Portland was like, I want to join. And so now they like have an office space and they have these like goals and these, like all these members that have joined. So if you're really passionate about something and you think that it's lacking in your community, go ahead and start an organization. You can find people that will like invest in you, or you can like set up booths. There's a lot of like ways to make money off of it, but it usually starts from a place of passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Number 19, we're up to.
Number 19, write a book, not just an ebook, but like a real book.
Yeah.
Which is hard. It's another like kind of daunting one, but maybe you're a specialist in grief and you like treat clients in a very specific way of how they can move through that grief. go ahead and jot that down. See if you can write a book, like work with a publisher or find other like therapists in your area that have written books too. Um, and then go ahead and sell it and become a New York Times bestselling author.
Just do it.
No
What
problem.
are you waiting for? Just do it.
Exactly. Okay, this is my favorite one, number 20, because it's just kind of ridiculous. Go ahead and create a therapeutic technique.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you think that there's something missing with all the interventions we have, or something that you can like add on to a current intervention,
Mm.
then go ahead and create it and start telling everybody about it, start training therapists on how they can use it, go on a tour across the country or world, why not? And start like preaching about your very new, amazing, cutting edge therapeutic technique.
I love that. That is awesome because that will instantly raise you to expert status. You know, if you've got
Oh, yeah.
all of these case studies of like, I used this technique, which I came up with to do
Yeah,
this, and this is what happened. That's pretty cool. Okay,
it's
I'm
pretty
gonna
cool.
tell my wife to get on that one.
Yeah, she really needs to. Like this weekend, bang one out. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Number 21, help other therapists write copy for their websites or their like therapy directory profiles.
Mm,
Therapists are not usually that good at writing copy, but if you're good and you're also a therapist, then you probably know how to do it very, very well.
yes.
Therapists hate doing it. Everybody hates doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you can go ahead and do it for them, then that would be maybe a kind of a lucrative business on the side.
Yep.
hmm Number 22. This one, I don't know, maybe doesn't feel that great, but maybe it does to other people, so maybe I shouldn't like prejudge it. But
Too late.
yeah, sorry.
What is it?
Go ahead and sell ads on your website. So if you have a website or a blog that like gets a decent amount of traction, then maybe you can like sign up for Google AdWords and create a little space where
Yeah.
people can click and buy something from an ad on your website. Usually, like, I don't know, that feels kind of funky for like a therapist website, but if you get enough traction and enough people visit, then it's actually not that weird to sell ads
Yeah.
on your website.
Yeah,
So,
it especially works. I think if you, like you said, if you have a lot of traffic, um, and almost like you're treating your website almost like a weekly blogs and articles and
mm,
stuff like that, you can end up getting a lot of traction from it. When I first launched Create My Therapist website, I did have some ads on there, and then only for a few months, and I got like nothing from it. I was like, this just looks ugly, and I'm not getting anything from it, so I turned it off.
right.
But that's just
Yeah,
me.
that's the thing is that it can look kind of ugly. So it has to like make a decent amount of money for you to keep this somewhat ugly thing
Right,
on your website. Yeah.
right.
Um, okay, number 23 is something I know a lot about, rent office space to therapists. And if you do it in the way that I'm doing it, where I'm just sort of like renting part-time hourly therapists office space, I have this like monopoly almost in the Portland area for like brand new therapists that are just starting out their practice. I'm like, okay, here it is. 5 hours per week, just $185 per month. You need one client to start making a profit on your practice. And then you'll be able to pay your office space and like some of the other fees that we have to pay. And that's all you need. And then once you start working up and like getting more clients, add another 5 hours per week and another 5 hours per week. And then eventually you're at 20 hours per week, and I've helped to like launch your practice, and now you can go get a full-time office somewhere else. So this is like a really easy way to like get into the game and launch your
Yeah,
practice. Um, Unfortunately, you do have to find an office space, which can be a little tricky and difficult. And then you have to like have a big down payment, usually like the deposit and then like first month's rent. And you have to like find all of the furniture. If you're just going to do a part-time office space, you have to furnish all of the furniture.
right.
However, side note, um, if you do that and you go get your furniture from like IKEA or something, and then IKEA can like deliver it for just $100, and then you start putting together that furniture, it is such a satisfying feeling because you're like looking at unmade furniture, putting it together, and then it's made.
Yeah,
And we don't get that like type of satisfaction as a therapist because like it takes like years sometimes to like see that somebody's made progress.
yeah.
But I love putting together furniture from IKEA because there's like, it's made, it's done, I'm successful,
It's
moving on.
therapeutic.
It's
Yeah.
very therapeutic, something
Yeah.
that I don't get to experience
Yeah,
otherwise.
like I said at the beginning of our chat, we did this with my wife's office, setting her office up, and I'm pretty handy, but I've been pretty busy, so I haven't really done much stuff around the house. I'll be honest about that. But it
Mhm.
was fun to like, okay, we've got all this furniture coming in. Let's put it together. Let's hang the stuff on the wall. Let's make it beautiful. And so it was really tiring, but it was fun to be there every weekend, like setting up this new space that is like, this
Mhm.
is yours, babe. This is all you right here. And
Yeah.
she actually just got her first renter this week, actually. So
Nice. Nice.
she's got just quickly, she's got 4 office spaces. She's got a partner in one, and then a full time person in the other, and then the other one's going to be their part time, like you're saying,
Mm. Mhm.
a few hours a week. So she's gonna furnish that pretty soon. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that like when you start to do this, you meet a ton of therapists in your area and they're all like really thankful and have a lot of gratitude for you that you've like helped them start their practice or rent them space or give them access and they remember you.
Yeah.
And then if you have like another product or another service to sell them in the future, they're like, I trust this person
Right.
and I want to keep supporting them or I want to buy the thing that they're selling or something. And these therapists like stay here forever sometimes. So you'll always have a really good relationship with them. I don't know. It was the best business move I've ever done and helped me. If without it, I wouldn't have like been able to start all the other things that I've done.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I highly recommend it. But number 24 is just sort of like a little baby version of number 23, which was if you don't want to rent, like lease out a whole new space and decorate it and yada yada, just rent out your space the times that you don't use it because you're probably not using it on like maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But a new therapist would use it on Friday, Saturday, and
Yeah.
Sunday. And oftentimes, if you start there, then you're able to like build into like a bigger space if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So that takes us through our 24 ideas. And you had a bonus idea that we were talking about before we hopped on
Yeah.
recorded here. So what's number 25?
Number 25 is do what I did. So actually, so when I started renting office space, and then like getting even more people to sign on, I just made a WordPress website for all of the therapists that were renting space from me. And that took off because I was able to like rank really highly with all the content that the therapists were creating on their profile pages. And then other therapists in the community were like, I don't want to rent space from you, but I want to be on this website. So I was like, all right, give me $15 a month. I'll let you be on the website. And then it really took off. So if you can start a local therapist directory for your community, you know what's important to your for your community locally. Like for my at portlandtherapycenter.com, which is my local Portland directory, clients can go on there and search for a therapist based on the quadrant that they're in
Hmm.
Portland. Because I know that we're all looking for things based on like if you're in Southeast, Northeast, Northwest, Southwest. And
Yeah.
that's just really unique. So you can like add those really unique things to your online therapist directory and then charge therapists for being on it. The business that like one of the businesses that failed was that like alternative healthcare directory that I mentioned.
Hmm.
And that's because like I don't really know much about acupuncture, naturopaths, massage therapists, and
Mm.
chiropractors. So I wasn't able to like connect with those practitioners in a way
Yeah.
that they're able to like really trust me.
Yeah.
But like the therapists in here in Portland, like they all know me, they all know I'm a good guy. But like the chiropractors are like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Chiropractors are quacks, anyways." So that's why I think that like if you do any of these, like make sure you're passionate about it and that you like know the field intimately or the topic intimately.
Yeah, or you can really put in the time to learn exactly what they need and
Yes. Yeah,
how to serve that specific audience.
exactly.
Well,
So
awesome. Thank you
there
so
you
much
go.
for this list. I know I've got some ideas. I'm gonna pass this along to my wife and be like, hey, what are we working on this year? No, she's actually just started. She's gonna start doing some Gottman couples workshops. So
Oh,
that's something
nice.
that's on the horizon. So I know we talked
Oh,
a little bit about workshops.
she's gonna lead them.
Yeah, she just went to
Nice.
Nashville and got certified. I forget the name of the couples workshop, but now she's got all the material and she can lead a group workshop.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like Gottman is just like so incredibly trusted and
Yeah.
ingrained, and
Yeah.
so that Gottman's never going away, and it has like such practical, great advice, yada yada. So like getting trained in like a Gottman series and training, like that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
We should all do it.
Yep. All right. Well, where can people find you online if they want to learn any more about passive income or just see what you're doing?
Yeah. So I run therapyden.com, which is an online mental health directory, and I think it's amazing. So you can go to therapyden.com to check that out. You can also go to therapyden.com/news, and that's where I blog every week. And sometimes it's about like passive income or marketing or just like other like mental health topics that I'm super interested or passionate about. You can also find me on my podcast called Say More About That, where I talk to therapists all day long about like specific topics. Like I actually had a podcast episode where a therapist who works for BetterHelp and Talkspace came on, just like, this is how it is. This is what's going on. Here's the pros and cons. So it's about like certain topics like that. But if you wanted to like shoot me an email, then you can shoot me an email at hello@therapyden.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate your time and thank you for all this inspiration and knowledge on passive income.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan of your podcast.
Thanks.
Mhm.